What's up, everybody? Brian Engelman here with the Unhappy Hour at the TNAM radio network at the New American Media. I got Zak Baris on the phone, and this is one of our favorite times of the year. All the wheeling and dealing, all the trades, all the nonsense, all the silliness in the National Basketball Association. It's here. We got the draft coming up in a couple of days. Figured no time like the present to jump right in and kind of figure out what's going on. Zak, how you doing, sir?
I'm all right. It's been kind of a down week, but, today is the one-year anniversary of the Cavaliers winning the championship, so I've been crying a lot.
Yeah, it's a moment I won't forget. Went to the parade. It was wonderful. That was great. I wished we had back-to-back, but hey, maybe we come back next year and take 2 out of 4, and then we get another best-of-5 rubber match after that with the Warriors. We'll see how it goes, but, the Cavaliers were looking, I don't know if outclassed or outmatched. I don't know the exact way to phrase it, but the Warriors beat us. They beat us pretty handily, and the Cavs might have some pretty big moves to make, so I kind of want to go through a few of them. First off, I want to talk about what everybody's talking about, Paul George. First, he tells the Pacers, I want to leave, and then you're hearing he's saying he wants to go to the Lakers, and then you're hearing that the Pacers reached out to the Cavs. Update us on where we're at with Paul George and everything.
So right now, we've been talking about this for a while now. Let's harp on this one and let's get into it. So here's my thoughts on the whole Paul George thing. Yes, it's great that he wants to go to the Lakers a year from now in free agency. It's his desire, but let's take the Lakers as they really are. Let's dissect them. The Lakers over the last 3 drafts have drafted Julius Randle, I believe, at number 6. They took D'Angelo Russell at number 2, Brandon Ingram at 2, and they have Larry Nance, who is, I believe, in the late 20s. So those are their 4 prized assets. I don't really know if any of the 4 of them have any trade value whatsoever.
0
on the open market. It's virtually 0. It's not 0. It's virtually 0.
Why is it that low?
Julius Randle right now is a candidate to not even get his $12 million option picked up after next year if they want to go after Paul George. This is why last year when they went out and they signed the Cavaliers rejects and Luol Deng and Timothy Mozgov, we're sitting there talking to ourselves, why are you jeopardizing your future cap space for
this caliber of player?
$16 million a year for Mozgov, and then Luol Deng, I believe they gave $18 million a year to, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, but they have a new GM now. Magic is kind of running the show now, and it's a change of guard.
But, they're at the point now, if they even want to just free up cap space, they're going to have to attach more than D'Angelo Russell or it might even cost them Brandon Ingram, which is their biggest asset they have right now. This is a team completely devoid of assets, and they don't have anything. They don't have a first-round pick next year. And what do? Do you go and take Lonzo Ball, or do you trade Lonzo Ball? Do you trade the number 2 overall pick, for another piece? It is very, very complicated right now. If you're a Laker, if you're the Lakers front office, what do you do?
So the Paul George and LeBron to the Lakers thing just is kind of ridiculous at this point?
I think if you're the Lakers, here's the thing. Okay, so what are you going to do if you go and grab Paul George in a trade? Who are you going to go and sign to put him next to him? You're still not even a playoff team.
Yeah. But how about a third one joins LeBron? Can they clear enough space out to make it happen? Got the roster.
The Cavaliers can. The Cavaliers can trade Kevin Love straight up for Paul George.
Oh, you could probably trade a ham sandwich for Paul George at this point. He's destroyed any market value.
Exactly.
But that's still better. Hold on, but that is still better than
the Cavaliers are in good shape.
Wait, hold on one second, Zach. I just want to say that's still a better position than the Cavs were in when they were blindsided by LeBron leaving to Miami. At least they can get something.
Yes, if the Cavs would have known that LeBron, they kind of did. The problem is you can't trade LeBron with 1 year left in his deal, because at that point the Cavaliers were good enough to win a championship. They were a 60-something win team. I believe they won 61 that year. And honestly, if they would have had the whole Delonte, whatever collapse, I'm not getting into it, but with the whole collapse in the playoffs when LeBron shut down, and he was still great, but the rest of the team shut down too, and they just lost it to Boston. That team would have dominated the Lakers in 4 or 5 games in the finals that year. They would have. They were a much better team than LA.
That was the Shaquille O'Neal year where he got injured right at the end and the chemistry all changed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that sucks. Shaq still says, and so do I, if they were healthy, we would have steamrolled to a title. But anyway, it didn't happen.
And they would have. But, the whole landscape of the NBA would have changed now. Let's just put it that way. The entire landscape of the NBA would be completely different.
Mm-hmm.
And, we can't get into what ifs, but, they lost LeBron. And the Cavaliers still wouldn't have traded him knowing 1 year left at him to possibly win a title because there's nobody you can equally replace him with. And now with Paul George, you're sitting here. If I'm the Pacers, I go, damn. That's why Larry Bird stepped down. If I'm Kevin Pritchard and I've got to go, okay, I've now got a long-term rebuild on my hands. Or why don't I go and I take Kevin Love and I make him the cornerstone of my franchise and put him up next to Miles Turner, and we've got one of the best front courts in the NBA. Or what do I do? Or do I go back and flip Kevin Love in a three-way deal and send him? The rumor I've been hearing is send him to Philly, or do I send him to Phoenix for a top 5 pick and possibly get another asset as well? There's a lot you can do with that pick if you're Indiana. The problem is with Indiana. Indiana's never going to attract a free agent. Their big thing would have been trying to get Gordon Hayward this offseason. However, Gordon Hayward doesn't want to even play in his hometown, it doesn't sound like.
Yeah.
Cleveland is a 1 year rental for Paul George. As a Cavs fan, I'd be okay with it because, listen, you're able to lure Kevin Love. People are dying to play with a team like Golden State or Cleveland.
Yeah,
to play, and don't forget, LeBron's not going anywhere next year. If the Cavaliers especially land Paul George, he's not going anywhere. He can't form a super team in LA. I was tweeting about it the other night. The Lakers don't have the cap space to do it, to even team up LeBron and Paul George, unless LeBron accepts a minimum value, which he's not going to do. Or he's going to go to the Clippers, and they don't have the room for him either. So it's really impossible to form a super team. His most likely shot at forming LeBron's super team with his super friends is in Cleveland. And let's get into it when I say it like this. It's not that difficult to form what he needs to in Cleveland. The Cavaliers can go out. The Knicks might go out and they might release Carmelo Anthony, which sticks him right on the open market and puts him right in a Cleveland Cavalier uniform.
Pause on that for a second, because I know Phil Jackson has really been pushing for Carmelo to waive his no-trade clause. You think they might so how does that happen with the cap? What are the implications if you release
Carmelo the
Knicks
would owe him the money. Carmelo would be free to go wherever he wants and sign for whatever he wants. But don't forget, he's making max money with the Knicks already. He can go and accept a minimum deal, and the Knicks are paying him the rest of his deal.
Oh, why would the Knicks do that?
Because I think Phil Jackson wants to get rid of him. I think now another thing too is the Cavaliers can give him contracts. We can give him Shumpert and they can give him Channing Frye. The Cavaliers can give him contracts. But what if you're the Knicks? What do you want those for? What do you want Shumpert on your books for? What do you want those guys for?
You already got rid of him once.
Odds are that I think they're going to wind up releasing him, or I think somehow this offseason, if the Cavaliers do make the Paul George trade for Kevin Love, you'll see Carmelo in a Cavaliers uniform at that point. Here's also another scenario too. There's 2 more names to throw in the hat, and this is not a pipe dream by any means. Dwayne Wade opts out of his Bulls deal, and they go and trade Jimmy Butler. Wade will opt out. You'll see that. Wade could sign in Cleveland for the mid-level.
After signing a $30 million deal last year?
What?
After signing, what, he get almost $30 million last year? He's going to sign a mid-level?
20-something, but at this point, he might not care.
Maybe.
It could be, let's just stick it to Pat Riley and Chris Bosh. If he gets cleared medically and the Heat come to settlement with him and he's gone, and he gets cleared medically, expect him to wind up in a Cavalier uniform as well.
Well, the Heat already did come to their
they did. So, but I'm saying if he gets cleared medically,
okay.
He gets cleared medically, expect both of those guys in Cleveland. I'm telling you just as a stick it to Pat Riley.
Yeah, maybe. Are you hearing anything about Bosh? Has there been any news?
I haven't heard anything about medically if he's been cleared or not, because he hasn't been yet. So you'll know when he has been. If he does, I'm telling you fully, you could, and I'm not joking when I say this, you could see a team in Cleveland next year with, and I'm not being, and trust me, you know me, I don't get in over my head. I'm not saying this is likely to happen. I'm saying this is one of the possibilities that might happen next year. You might see this. You might see the gang of the old guys come together to beat a team, to beat like Golden State, and put together the most ridiculous team you've ever seen, at least name-wise, with 5 to 6 potential Hall of Famers on the team. I'm not joking when I say that as well. So
when you have players like Iguodala who've been under market value playing with the Warriors so they
I
can
think
get rings and
Iguodala's
David West.
leave. I think he's going to go and take his $20 million a year if someone's really offering it to him. If I'm him, what else do I need to prove in Golden State? I've won 2 titles. I get a chance to be the focal point of a team now, or at least a nice, very, very nice starting complimentary piece for 20, and make more money and live in a cheaper city. If I'm him, I'm doing that. I've gotten my titles out of the way if I'm him. This is his chance to really do what he needs to do on his last major contract. If he gets a 4-year, $80 million deal, take the damn money and run with it.
Well, and that's what I'm saying with that. You're saying the Cavs could end up becoming the place where people go play for less, and the Warriors are going to be the place where they're burning through the players that were the role players and the key players, the bench players that got rotation time.
I mean, Sean Livingston is going to get a big contract. If you're Sean Livingston, you can make $15 to $16 million a year rather than $5 to $6. What are you going to take? You've gotten your 2 titles already. It's different. Sean Livingston and Andre Iguodala don't have the endorsement deals like the Chris Bosh's had, that the Dwayne Wades have, that the LeBrons have, that Kyrie Irving has. There's a difference. These guys can take less money because they all make $50, $60, $70 million a year after endorsements are done.
Yeah.
There's a difference. And, guys like LeBron don't like to lose. And I'm telling you, the shots fired at LeBron already don't sit well with by Draymond Green, don't sit well with the rest of the veterans in the NBA. Trust me on that one. They don't.
Explain what you're talking about. What shots in particular? And
the quickie shirt that Draymond wore to the parade, LeBron fired back at him a couple times. I'm telling you right now, when I say this, that the Cavaliers could conceivably wind up with a lineup next year of Chris Bosh at your 5, or let's just say hypothetically it's Tristan at the 5, Carmelo at the 4, or Bosh at the 4 with the other one coming off the bench, LeBron at the 3, Paul George playing, or what you do is you move all those guys up, and I just know LeBron doesn't like playing power forward.
You're talking about an Olympic team right here.
You are. You're talking about multiple Hall of Famers. But I'm telling you, do not be shocked to see Bosh and Wade and Melo all in a Cavalier uniform next year. I'm not saying it's likely to happen, but at the same time, don't be shocked if it does, if Bosh gets cleared medically.
The Bosh thing I can understand. Carmelo, if the Knicks cut him for next to nothing, of course.
If the Knicks cut him, he's coming to Cleveland. Mark my words on that one.
Oh, okay, you're saying mark my words, but remember, he was always the one from that draft class that didn't do what everyone else did. He always signed his own deals.
Don't forget, Melo has not won at this point. Melo's approaching the age where Melo wants to win a title. He's never won. Trust me, he does not want to go be labeled a loser. He thought he was going to have everything in New York with Amari Stoudemire and put that thing together. Just didn't happen.
Right.
He and Amari were not a fit. The Knicks were better without Melo than they were with him. They were either much better with Melo and without Amari, or with Amari and without Melo. It just, those two didn't complement each other very well.
Okay. Well, look, the Bosh thing, I'm totally with you on. D-Wade, that would take a little bit. Carmelo, it might be a little bit more likely. But really quick, going back to the Cavs, who is going to be the general manager? Like, we're only a couple days away.
Again, I tend to think I'm sticking with what I said a week ago when I was on the show, and I said it's going to be David Griffin.
And he's just waiting. He's under contract till the 30th, right?
Let's dissect this for a sec as well. David Griffin's contract's up June 30th. Vice President of Basketball Operations Trent Redden's contract is also up the same day, which would put Assistant General Manager Kobe Altman right now at the forefront. He'd be the next general manager in line. I can't see them going out of line, out of the house to go and replace David Griffin if they do. I tend to think that David Griffin will be the general manager here in Cleveland for the next few years at least. I don't think the Cavaliers are going to let him walk. Don't forget, let's pull this. What do the Cavaliers do every single summer now for the past 4 summers in a row? Drama, 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 and drama.
Yeah. Yep, that's what goes with LeBron in the circus.
4 years ago, this is going to be LeBron's 4th-season home. What did we deal with? We dealt with bringing in LeBron in the summer. Nobody knew what was going on. Gordon Hayward was on a plane to Cleveland. Chandler Parsons was about to board a plane to Cleveland. Gordon Hayward was with Cleveland when it happened.
So he was almost a Cavalier.
Yes. Well, I mean, here's Utah would have matched the offer. The Cavaliers would have wound up with Chandler Parsons.
Okay.
Utah would have matched the offer, though.
I think we chose wisely, though.
So the Cavaliers got LeBron. But then you all summer you waited. Oh, Andrew Wiggins, the Cavalier. He's in the summer league. Bam. Trade him for Kevin Love. Okay. What goes on the next summer? Was that what was the summer a year later? Was that Kevin Love re-signing?
Yeah. That was kind of like the Paul George thing. You got him for a year, and you got to hope that it goes well.
And then it was Tristan Thompson. Okay, he's not playing in the preseason. He's even going to be playing by the season. Okay, you got him locked up as well. Okay, that's sorted out. Last summer, what was it? J.R. Smith. Got it out of the way as well.
Yeah.
Oh, and Tyronn Lue. Is Lue going to be locked up to a contract extension, or is he going to be a free agent? Got it out of the way. They let this drama ensue. I think they thrive off of the media attention, to tell you the truth, Brian.
Really? Is that a LeBron thing or a Dan?
I don't know.
Gilbert
it might be a Dan Gilbert thing. He's a bright guy. He knows what he's doing.
All right. So you can bake the cookies with all the heat. You keep all the media attention on, and it gets the desired results eventually. Is what you're
I
saying.
mean,
That's just who we are. But you're also saying that we're an organization that people want to come to, and that people love playing for. I'm hearing that from across the league that we've totally changed our reputation over the past few years.
the Cavaliers they are the prized culture in the NBA. They have the nicest facilities. They treat their players the best. I mean, what else? What more else could you ask for if you're a player? And again, they've got great fan support, a great arena. It's an arena that's about to undergo a multi-million-dollar renovation as well.
And you get to play. You get to play with the GOAT in his prime. Where else?
That too, Brian. That's something I didn't even mention.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, we got the GOAT in his prime. And we saw him improve his game last year, so he's showing no signs of slowing down. We still have an open window.
And again, the national media just loves talking about how everybody's always leaving Cleveland. I mean, if the national media was correct right now, we would be on. We wouldn't even be close to assembling the current roster we have. LeBron would have been in LA or been back in Miami by now. I mean, don't forget, this is the talk that it was last year. LeBron was going to LA right after the Cavaliers won the finals. Where'd LeBron wind up? Cleveland?
For 2 years. Not a max deal for 6 or
Here's
7.
the thing. Why is LeBron going to go change his career path and go and have to face Golden State around earlier than he would have normally?
He's already been to, 8 finals now? I mean, he's starting to get into rare air. He's already in rare air. All-time
If the Cavaliers are able to add Paul George and they're able to somehow form another, and I mean major super team, in order to go down and take down the Warriors, LeBron loves being hated.
Does he?
He's thrived. That's when he's always been at his best. Look at him in Miami. Look at him, just every time he's the bad guy. I mean, look at last year in Golden State in the finals. Golden State, look what he did. Came back from a through, and he loves the drama. I think it would make for a great storyline to bring the Super Friends back together with the current team.
Okay, but does Carmelo Anthony really help our defense? And that was one of the biggest problems.
It's not that it helps our defense; it helps their offense, and that's what they, And granted, they don't need much offensive help, but however, the best team you can form is the best team you can form. Paul George helps out their defense.
Well, that would be true, yeah.
Don't forget, J.R. Smith didn't play a lick of defense until he came to Cleveland.
Because that's what's expected.
Yes.
Yeah, different parameters of how you play your game. No, I get that, and I guess we're going to see some of the chips falling where they will because we have the draft coming up, and we're already starting to see movement. A lot of talk going on here. Maybe if we could shift gears for a second, unless you had anything else you wanted to wrap up with the Cavs before I.
No, we could shift gears.
Okay, yeah, because it's kind of making a segue here because we're going to start to see pieces falling with the draft. So maybe start at the top with the Celtics and the Sixers. Talk about what just happened there.
So I think what's going on is that Boston really didn't see a future for Markelle Fultz in their organization. To be truthful with you, I think they figured they have Isaiah Thomas. They were backloaded at guard, and now they flipped the number 3 pick, piled up future assets as well, and now are going to go and attempt to move number 3 for what I understand for Jimmy Butler.
Oh, okay. So there's a second part to this deal.
Yes, is what I'm hearing. I could be wrong.
Well, Jimmy Butler would make him better.
Jimmy Butler makes him a lot better, which would have the Cavs counteracting what they're doing.
But the Celtics with Jimmy Butler, does that really rival where the Cavs are at, or?
I wouldn't say yet.
But it's nipping at their toes.
Let's say they add both Gordon Hayward and Jimmy Butler.
Okay, yeah, now you're changing it, and you got all those future first-round picks, unless Danny Ainge is going to flip them and trade those picks for players.
Danny Ainge doesn't draft well. Go back and look at his record. He's never drafted well. But they've got a good young core. But the future is, what do you do with Isaiah Thomas in a year? Is Isaiah Thomas worth a max extension? Is he worth $30 million a year? My first impression would be no.
He's what? He's 29 years old, something like that?
Yeah, and he doesn't play any defense. They were better without him in the finals, the Eastern Conference Finals, than they were with him. We witnessed that. They were a more physical team. Avery Bradley and Marcus Smart and Jaylen Brown are all great defenders, and same with Jay Crowder. What I would say is if I'm Boston right now, I'm taking all my good complementary players and I'm turning them into a superstar. Whether it's Anthony Davis, Jimmy Butler, you have so many assets to stockpile. Go ahead and make those deals. And you have the assets to go and beat a team like Golden State. Don't just wait it out, because once you draft those assets, they're immediately worth less than they were before you drafted. Let's say last year with Chris Dunn. Chris Dunn did nothing in Minnesota. At one point last year, there was a Chris Dunn for Jimmy Butler deal on the table. Once you draft that player, they are no longer as valuable as they once were.
Well, like in the NFL, if you trade a first-round pick, you're getting next year's first round plus all this extra stuff. The future picks are always worth more.
Let's not forget, after a year, these players it's very devalued. Very rarely do these NBA players, like the 9th overall pick, become an all-star or a superstar. But it's valued much higher beforehand.
So it's like driving a brand new car off the lot. Down 20%.
Literally is driving a brand new car off the lot. Now, you might get lucky and get a collector's edition, you might drive that, a 1985 Porsche 911, off the lot, and it might be worth more now than it was in 1985.
Or a 1985 Chevy S10 Durango, like I did, but I digress.
Yeah, I know, but and that's the thing. Everything loses its market value. There's a reason in the building industry why you pay more for new construction than you do a renovation. You can go buy a beautiful renovated house in Shaker Heights for $500,000. It's a 4,500 square foot house, 5,000 square foot house, or you could build something new in Pepper Pike in Cleveland for 2,800 square feet, and it's going to cost you $675,000. It's all about new. Everybody wants something new. Everybody wants to make it their own. Nobody wants somebody else taking the player. It's comparing it to the housing market or comparing it to a used car lot or a new car. These guys are just not worth as much once they're drafted, and as soon as they show a sign of struggle, that's it. Don't forget the NBA. We are now at a point where if you don't have 3 All-Stars on your team minimum, you're not going to the finals.
And so being 500, being that Atlanta Hawks team for so many years, sitting in the middle, it's the worst spot to be. You're the 4 seed, the 5 seed.
The Hawks 2 years ago, let's not forget, had 4 of the top 30 players in the NBA at that point. They had 4 All-Stars. And they were a 60-something win team. And Cleveland knocked them right out of the water in 4 games. An injured Cleveland team without Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love knocked them out of the water and beat them in 4 games.
Okay. Well, let me just real quick, the embarrassment of riches that the Celtics have now. They've stockpiled. Do you know exactly how many first-round picks they have now?
They have so many, it's ridiculous.
I don't even know how they
own the Sixers, and they own the Lakers. It's the Clippers. It's nonstop.
Yeah. Okay.
But again, let's take a look back at last year. Danny Ainge had the ability to do this last year. What did he get out of it? He got Jaylen Brown, Terry Rozier, and a guy that's stashed over in Europe. Okay. Didn't turn any of those 4 picks into a player like he should have.
Is it like the Browns who continually keep stockpiling picks?
It's different. The Browns just draft poorly.
Well, that's what you said about Ainge. The same thing.
Yeah, it's true, but Ainge has made some good trades as well.
Okay.
He doesn't lose his trades. He just doesn't draft well.
Well, yeah, I think the Browns have got a lot of value for their trades. They just don't get the right players. When you get Justin Gilbert and Johnny Manziel.
The Celtics are like in purgatory. They're not good enough to win it all, but they're not. They're a very good team and they're very young, but they're not. But again, it's a superstar-driven league, and I don't think that if you take Josh Jackson 3, I'd much rather have Jimmy Butler than Josh Jackson from Kansas. Not that I don't like Jackson, but there are a lot of questions. There's a lot of future. You're going to see the future of Magic Johnson and Rob Pelinka in LA. A lot of futures are going to be mortgaged by this draft. Let's take a look. If Markelle Fultz is a bust, Philadelphia, it doesn't look good on Colangelo. If he becomes a superstar, Colangelo looks great. Danny Ainge looks terrible. And then, and let's say, what do the Lakers do at 2? Do they draft Lonzo Ball? Do they take Jackson? Do they take De'Aaron Fox from Kentucky? What do they do? Do they take Jason Tatum? What do you do there? There's so many options, and the playing field is very level through all these guys. I don't think one really rises above the other too much. But every single one of these guys has question marks about him, which is not a good thing when they have question marks because it doesn't bode well. Let's take a look at the last couple of years. Like last year, Chris Dunn, lots of question marks. Okay, well, what happens? Chris Dunn was terrible his rookie year. Brandon Ingram, lots of question marks. Was very bad his rookie year. A lot of these guys didn't look that great. You had a guy with tons of value after his rookie year in Justice Winslow in Miami. I didn't see why he was so valuable. I didn't understand it one bit. And what do you know? Justice Winslow was not any good last year. You're going to also see a team pay Deion Waiters $20-something million a year. Think about that for a second.
No. What? Why? No. Oh. Okay. No. Oh, I couldn't even imagine being in a position where I'd have to do that. You're paying Mozgov and Deli and Dion getting that kind of money. That's just ridiculous. Hey, real quick, you keep mentioning Los Angeles. What do you think of Steve Ballmer and his new deal? I found out about it probably the week before it got announced.
The arena deal?
Yeah, the new arena.
He wants to be able to have his own arena, and I don't blame him. Get out of the Lakers' shadows and develop your own culture. He's got the money for it, so why not?
Yeah, and they'll be moving right over by the Rams, right?
I don't like driving out to Inglewood. That's me personally. I lived out in Hollywood, in the Hollywood Hills. I was, don't forget, I didn't want to drive out to the airport. It was a 45-minute drive for me living in Hollywood. I hated it.
45 minutes? It could be an hour and a half.
Downtown LA, I'll give it the one nice thing. Downtown LA has a couple nice things about it. One, it's so easily accessible. It's right in the center of the city.
Yeah.
Literally, it's the epicenter of Los Angeles. It is in the middle of everything. All the freeways come through there. At least the 110 and the 101 do, and so does the 5.
And the 10.
And the 10. So you've got 4 major freeways that stroll down there. You've got it's literally right in the center of the city. Parking is dirt cheap, at least for me. Every time I went to a Laker or Clipper game, I never had to spend more than $10 on parking, which is unheard of for a large city. There's so many surface lots next to it.
Yeah.
If I'm the Lakers, if I'm Steve Ballmer, I get going to Inglewood and going part of Kroenke's complex down there. But if it's me, I'd rather just build another arena in downtown LA and another LA Live area. But this takes away if you're a big proponent of LA Live with all the new development going on down there, it's going to be tough to lose 41 games a year plus playoffs. You're looking at maybe 8 playoff games a year plus 10 preseason games. You're looking at 60 games total you're losing of nights of, of everything.
Yeah.
Just nights of entertainment down in LA Live. It's not good for the service industry down there. And don't forget, the Staples Center is it's the busiest arena in all of sports, in any sport, more so than Madison Square Garden, you name it. Let's not forget who plays there. You've got the Lakers, you've got the Clippers, you've got the LA Kings, you've got the LA Sparks. Not only do you have, what is it? Is it the Grammys they host? They hold all the award shows there. Multiple concerts are there. That arena is virtually used almost every day of the year.
Well, like you said, they're going to have to get creative to fill in half of that schedule, though. All those games.
Yeah, a third of it.
Yeah. Well.
Because the Kings play 41 home games, and so do the Lakers, and so do the Clippers. And so that's a third. It's a third of the games you're going to be losing. You're going to be losing 60 nights in that arena.
Yeah, it makes a difference. Ask anyone in Cleveland when LeBron left. It totally changed that downtown area.
And also worrying about the Forum in Inglewood, too, which is now hosting a lot of concerts, which they put tons of money into that one as well. What happens to that now? Do they start focusing on the Clippers arena? Do the concerts start going over to the stadium where the Rams and the Chargers are going to be playing? There's going to be a lot of activity. Do they need all these stadiums and all these arenas? Probably not.
Well, if they're trying to get the Olympics, which they are, for some stupid reason.
LA is one of the few cities that doesn't need to keep building that can sustain everything they do, because they have 2 football teams, they have 2 baseball teams, they have 2 basketball teams, and they have 2 hockey teams in the area as well. Don't forget, you can still use the Honda Center. You have Angel Stadium. You have all these different places, all these different venues. You have the Rose Bowl. You have the Coliseum. They have so many different venues which you can use, for these different Olympic events. You can even use the stadium in Carson. LA is one of the few cities that really doesn't need to keep building and building and building.
Yeah.
They have the stadiums.
I wish they would retire the Coliseum at this point.
It's getting, the Coliseum is in bad shape.
Yeah,
you and I have been to plenty of games in that stadium. It is in bad shape.
Yeah. Well, it's just very interesting to see all the development that's happening. You go from 0 football teams to 2 football teams, and to see all the development in Inglewood. It sure is interesting. And we'll have to see the plans when they come out, all the details. I'm eagerly looking forward to it, just out of the curiosity factor alone. Well, let's wrap it up, Zach. Let's just kind of go through the top 10 with the NBA draft here. Number 1 pick, now it's the Sixers. You think they go with?
I think they're going to go with Markelle Fultz. I know they're going to go with Fultz.
And
they're not going with anybody else. They wouldn't have traded up to get anybody else.
And you like it? You like the move?
Oh, I like the move. You know what? In my opinion, it's a star-driven league. You got to be able to draft superstars, and if you can't, then you fail. You don't win without superstars.
All right, number 2 pick.
Okay, this is where it gets complicated. I don't think the Lakers are going to pass on Lonzo Ball at 2. If they do, I'd be surprised. But I think Lonzo Ball's going 2.
Okay, and that's the good fit?
Yeah, I think it's the best fit for them.
For them. What about for Ball?
So I think it's the best fit for Lonzo Ball as well. Now, Here's where it gets complicated.
Because you're seeing the Celtics trade for Jimmy Butler.
Let's say, hypothetically, the Celtics do trade for Jimmy Butler and they don't select it. Right now, I've got the Celtics. They would take Josh Jackson at 3.
Okay.
If they don't, I don't know who the Bulls take. That's the question. It's hard to picture these guys on this team. And odds are they replace Jimmy Butler with Josh Jackson at that point.
Oh, okay. Okay, well then, all right. I guess you're just swapping age and contracts.
It's still difficult to see who these teams draft. I mean, it's hard to tell who Phoenix likes. The board is going to be shuffled around because of all these trades, and it's going to be driving teams nuts up until draft night. I mean, we might see Indiana come over in the 2 spot. We don't even know who's going to be where.
Well, who are then outside of Lonzo Ball and Fultz and a couple of these guys? Who are some of your other favorite players, regardless of where you think they're going to land?
I don't love a ton of players in this draft, to be honest with you, Brian. Okay. I don't. I'm not in the mood of the guys that love Tatum. I don't. This is like last year's draft. I wasn't the biggest Chris Dunn fan. The one guy I really liked in last year's draft was Brandon Ingram, and even he still worried me. I've said he's got Durant-like potential, but at the same time, he's got to be put in a system where he can focus, and I don't think he was in the right system. It's going to be very difficult to tell. I'll get a better feel for it, possibly by Wednesday or Thursday morning when all these deals are struck going down. And then you start to understand and you go, okay, this team's going to go in here. We're going to make this move. There's going to be a lot of maneuvering, I think, going around in the next 48 to 72 hours before the draft.
Yeah, and rethinking Danny Ainge's comment that, we're going to take the person at 3 that we would have taken at 1. Well, maybe that's trading the draft pick, for Jimmy Butler, and that's the person, that was the price.
Yeah, and so what you do is the Bulls still want number 3, so what they're willing to do is Boston stockpiles another major asset while still getting the guy they wanted anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
In Jimmy Butler. So if they do that, it's a great move for them. But Danny Ainge's tenure will always be focused on, will Markelle Fultz be a star? And if he is, and he really becomes a true superstar,
he's the guy that let him slip through the fingers for...
Yeah.
But then you don't know until you see...
Thomas is a long 5-year, 6-year, 7-year answer there. He's not.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're looking at Isaiah Thomas. He's not a youngster anymore, and maybe you want to get some people in their prime as opposed to brand new rookies making it happen. And I'm going to keep my eyes on Kevin Love. I would love to improve the Cavaliers team without having to get rid of him. I think he does.
I would too, but if it takes Paul George and they wind up getting Paul George and Carmelo out of it, or Paul George and Chris Bosh, then fine. You're willing to take a little bit of a hit because Bosh is a great player when he's healthy. Carmelo could be a really nice fit with LeBron. I tend to think, obviously there would be an adjustment period. The Cavaliers are not going to go and rip, even if the Cavaliers do rip off a team of the Super Friends and they're that good, they're still not going to win 70 games. You're going to see these guys taking nights off. You're going to see them screwing around like they did. You're just going to see them screwing around having weird nights. It's what happens. I mean, it's still unfathomable that Golden State didn't win 75 games this season with Kevin Durant.
Yeah. Well, and
next year they can't to win 73 again. Yeah, they are.
Well, the Cavs struggles this year were very weird to me as well. So,
yeah, and they didn't show them in the postseason. They're a totally different team come postseason time. It was almost like, what happened?
And then they turned it on until the first 2 games of the finals, and they weren't, nobody home. Showed up in 3 a little too late. 4 made it happen, and 5
3
just got
they
beat.
lost it a little too late.
Yeah.
They had the game won. They were up by 7 with 2 minutes left.
Yeah, they started playing Marty Schottenheimer defense with the prevent. They let it get away. It got a little too conservative.
It was unfortunate, but I think who knows how the series would have played out had they won Game 3? Who knows?
Well, who knows if they call the foul on Durant when he hits LeBron in the head? Of course,
a lot of stuff happens, and it's
Warriors
nothing.
won.
There's nothing you can do. And Golden State won the championship. They were the better team.
Yep.
But I don't think the Cavaliers were far off from beating them. Let's just put it that way.
No, I don't think so either. But we got to make some tweaks. We'll see how David Griffin shakes out. If he is retained as the Cavs general manager, we'll see if the Celtics make some more trades. We'll see if the Cavs get in the loop. We'll see what happens with Paul George. So I guess you and we will reconnect shortly. I don't know. Let's wait
Probably
for something
sometime in the
major.
next 2 to 3 days, I would assume.
Absolutely. Sometime this week. Zach, I will let you get going for today. I appreciate your time as always. And it wouldn't be a NBA draft season without the silliness. So thanks for helping us try to make some sense of it again.
Thank you.
All right, take care, buddy.
Bye-bye.